Hey guys, today we'll be doing a first ever special effects look on the channel, the Chelsea Smile. Now, there are several different ways to do the Chelsea Smile. You'll see, I'm sure, tons of videos for it on YouTube. The biggest reason I'm doing my own version, none of them really cater to sensitive skin, like at all. And I have insanely sensitive skin, so I honestly can't handle most of the special effects chemicals and adhesives, so do know I'll be doing shout outs for what to do to actually, if your skin can handle it, but do know my skin can't, like straight up it burns. So I'll be walking through how I do the look on me versus what I would recommend to do on clients and what I do for my clients. So let's dive in. Before we get started, making sure we're turning on our beauty light for proper lighting and pinning our hair back. This one is especially important because working with liquid latex and wax is hella sticky. Next, we're removing the makeup as base. If you'd like, you're more than welcome to start with a clean base to avoid this step, but right here I'm using a fragrance-free Clinique makeup wipe to remove the base makeup that I have, and I'll be also making sure to clean it up as well with a cotton swab. If you don't have as sensitive of skin, you're more than welcome to soak the cotton swab in rubbing alcohol to really make sure you're removing any residual facial oils. When creating a look that involves symmetry, I always recommend outlining the shape first. Here I'm using a white eyeliner pencil for ease because it's super simple. If you mess up, you're easy to smudge or wipe it away, and it's just much more easily manipulated than a black eyeliner pencil or a brighter color. Make sure to repeat it on both sides, and voila! Now to get started on the fun stuff, I'm building the base of our look. So here I'll be using Graftobian modeling wax as well as Alba Botanica's Un-Petroleum jelly. Regardless if you use petroleum or non-petroleum, just dear Lord, please use jelly. You'll see why in a hot sec. So here you'll see me actually coating my fingertips and nails, pretty much any surface I plan to be touching the wax with, I'm coating with the jelly. And here I'm just molding and forming the actual shape of the wax that I'll be affixing to my face. Now, you'll definitely see in a hot sec, truly, why you really need to use the jelly. But again, molding, shaping, forming, yada yada, and bam, I just figured out why I needed to put it on the palm of my hand. It's gross, it's sticky, it's hard to maneuver, so truly, take lesson learned from me. Definitely make sure you even coat the palms of your hands with the darn jelly. Here I am going in for a reapplication. Now, as I mentioned, I have ultra-sensitive skin, so you're seeing me right here applying the wax directly to my skin, and it actually does stick. I don't tend to sweat that easily or have that oily of skin. So, if you would like the look to last longer, or you'll be applying this to other folks, do make sure to use a spirit gum or Pros-Aid adhesive. That'll ensure that the look will last as long as possible until you do actually go in ahead and remove it. To ensure the final look looks as skin-like as possible, you're going to want to make sure that the edges of this wax blends as seamlessly with your skin as possible. So if you'd like to use your fingers, you're more than welcome to, but here you see me using Maron's own dual-ended tool, and specifically the curved edge. What you saw me do a moment ago was just coat that curved edge with that jelly to make sure that it truly does just glide across the wax instead of potentially sticking and dragging the wax itself and messing up the application that you just worked so hard to lay down as a foundation. So I'm working bit by bit here to just make sure that it's totally smoothed out across every possible edge, because again, you do want to make sure that it's as seamless as possible. Still working with the wax, but now carving the wax. So using just the other side of that same dual-ended tool, you see me here coating it in that jelly again, because even though we're going to be carving out and actually creating the channels and almost like divots for the gore to come, we do want to make sure that this is still gliding and again, not tugging and pulling and essentially messing up the base that you've really, again, been working hard to create and establish So here you see not only am I creating the smile lines, but I also, because again, I like to gore things up a bit more, I'm also taking out certain chunks of wax that I know I want to be deeper cuts and a little bit more jagged after the next step. Now we'll be applying liquid latex on top of the wax base we just created. For this, I would recommend any type of cosmetic sponge. Personally, I prefer a triangular sponge because you're able to rotate it and actually get the corners involved for the deeper crevice areas. So here it's exactly what you see me doing. I am utilizing each individual corner of the triangle to try and get the liquid latex as deep into the crevices as possible. And then more specifically, I'm then using the thinnest side possible to actually feather out the liquid latex to really try and have it blend as seamlessly as possible with my natural skin. And this is just a quick reminder to, of course, totally repeat all of these steps on the other side. Ignoring my make it dry faster dance, this is also a comparison for a fully dry versus a semi-dry liquid latex. So biggest differential, if it's still opaque milky white, it has to dry more. Now we're creating the texture. For this, I'm using a dual-sided sculpture tool. You typically will find this in an art supply store in like the wood carving and craft area. And yeah, because we're straight up creating skin flaps and grossness, I do want to forewarn y'all, even I got creeped out watching this at times during editing. So just word to the wise, in case you're a little cringy, feel free to fast forward. But here I'm literally picking out specifically the deeper pockets of the liquid latex that had settled into those deeper crevices and pulling it and morphing it to really create these skin flaps you see here. Next, we'll be using a loose setting powder just to remove the shine. I'm sure you noticed if you were following along that quite a bit of the actual liquid latex on top creates a bit of an unnatural sheen. So this is just to take it back a bit and make it a little bit more skin-like. And here we're actually applying just my typical concealer, and honestly, end goal is to have it really blend and look more like your real skin. So we made it look like skin. Now we're going to make it look like injured skin. So for this, I'm using the Maroon Bruise Wheel and starting off with the red, brown, and honestly, not necessarily the black color because it can make it look very unnatural and almost cartoonish, but do feel free to add it in as more of a shadow enhancement type of effect. For these details, I'm using a paintbrush set simply from my local art store, and little by little building on the colors to make it more 3D, build more shadow, build more detail, and ultimately create the actual flat color base for the next step. Now is when the true fun starts and we get to gore it up. So starting off first with Maroon's coagulated blood gel, this is definitely something I recommend still working with a paintbrush. It gets a little, as you can see, gloopy, but it definitely is the best thing to start with because it truly is something that'll create more of the depth for the blood. So as you see here, painting it into the deeper crevices, and ultimately it's going to create that somewhat dried look of blood, and then we're just building it up bit by bit, of course, in the actual cut crevices, as well as any of the other lacerated skin around. Our final step in the gorification is adding the liquid blood. So here I'm using two different colors, one darker that I'm using first to definitely create even more depth. Again, the Chelsea Smile is a deep cut, so that's where I keep mentioning the depth. And here I'm adding it in because honestly, up until a certain point, the actual paintbrush only does so much. So adding it into the cut itself and moving my head around in weird directions to just further distribute it throughout. And now I'm adding in the brighter blood that makes it look more of like a fresh cut. So here is truly the last of the gore that I'll be adding to the look, and I'm doing it on both sides, redistributing with the drips as I need to. But the best part about this final step is you can add less or more per your own preference. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you've had an awesome time learning how to do the Chelsea smile. Please give me a subscribe, and if not, I hope to catch you soon. Thanks, guys.